how are we doing? And then when I point to the crowd, you're going to say, good, okay? All right, so how are we doing?
Good.
How are we doing?
Good.
Come on, guys, you can do better. How are we doing?
Good.
How are we doing?
Good.
Okay, I think about it, it's equal. I mean, that's what, I imagine heavenly parents, kingdom of heaven on earth. So again, thank you everyone for coming to Sunday service. As you can see, there's lots of little ones running around. It's been a very beautiful day. So to get us started, I'd like to invite up Pastor Justin Okamoto to share some announcements with us.
Dominic, you're in the young class? I'm gonna go back there. I feel more comfortable.
All right. Good evening, brothers and sisters.
Good evening.
It's good to see you. Just a few announcements that we wanted to share with everybody. First one is Happy It's Your Children's Day. Yay. And also Happy Foundation Day for the Unified Nation of Heaven and Earth. Yay. So we had 2 holy days that we celebrated this past week, and also today we had a very special Children's Day celebration with the Sunday school kids. We have a ACLC symposium November 18th. This is coming up in a couple, I think 2 Thursdays from now. We're gonna have some great speakers with Dr. Jenkins, Dr. Rouse, and Bishop Stallings. So this is a really great opportunity to invite your pastor friends too. Also, there's going to be the Blessing Fest. I don't know if you guys remember this past June, we had this watch party here in Belvedere. We're probably going to be doing that again, but we don't know the time yet. It hasn't been released. So just kind of keep your eyes open for more information on that. And the church directory, the phone book is on its way, promise you. Actually, we're going to be printing the phone books this week. So if you'd like a copy, you can just bring a couple $1 donation to cover the printing cost in the next Sunday service. Also, we're going to have another date night, which is coming up this coming Friday. This is a great opportunity for you to go out on a date with your spouse. And one of the things we did announce, I don't know if you remember this, but we did say that if you send in a picture that you may win a gift card so that you can use it on your next date. So we did actually have a few people that sent in some pictures of their dates last time. And I wanted to award one of the couples with a gift card. So actually this time I'd like to give it to the Joseph couple. Thank you. So congratulations. Thank you for investing into your marriage. And this time, once again, if you go on a date, it doesn't have to be Friday, it could be any day of the week, but send in a picture and you'll be put into a lottery to win a gift card to fund your next date. So anyway, this is a lot of fun, and I hope that we can make this wonderful culture. So that's hopefully now. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We have one more special announcement, and for this one, I'd like to welcome up Mrs. Takahashi. Yeah, she's going to share about the Leda project. They're doing a fundraiser for the Leda project. So. Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, good afternoon.
I just want to announce that, as you know, we do every year to make a letter calendar, which is a very unique one, not month by month, but you can see a whole year of the calendar. We made 2022 already, so we have table on the way to sell this. So this next year issue is a very special person draw a picture. It's a really special picture, which is like a champion in coming to Pantana River together with two.
Wow.
there. So, so we connected, So please.
$100, that's small.
Oh, this is one for $10 donation, $10 donation, and then if you buy three, how much?
$20.
Yes. $20. So maybe we can be friends together to do that. That's also you can send this gift as a gift for your spiritual children, your parents, or ACLC. Minister what we are doing it very clearly. Explain about service project and then fish farm, and also giving a blessing for the village. So like a station, which is our project, is really expanding for have been 20 years keep doing it. Therefore, this seems like there is around 40 or 40, 56 years people, right? So I expect. We do, if you don't have, money today, it's fine. We do that continuously until the end of this year.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Takahashi. Yeah, definitely want to ask everyone to support that. The later project is, definitely and it's an incredible project that initiated by our true parents. And to me, it's one of the most inspiring things because it's very real. It's actionizing the principle. Okay, so without further ado, let's welcome up the song team to lead us in a couple of songs, and we can all stand up as well.
I forgot one thing.
Yeah.
The all gross, 20% is going to the church as a donation.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, now, please.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Belvedere family community. Thanks for bringing your voices. I hope everybody's warm. We'll begin with singing Song of the Young People. As you can see, we have many young people here today, Sunday school kids. Very happy to have them here. They will be our future, so let's sing to them. Song of the Young People. Today we have our pianist, Taiko-san. She's going to play for us. Very happy about that. Here we go. We shout with joy, we rise and sing, the will of God is done. And the day dawns and the dream lifts, the Son of God has come. Fight bravely to crush Satan, God's heart will be revealed. In the children of our Father, the youth of harmony, the darkness which has covered us in Him has been dispelled. The dawn breaks into daylight, we ring the warning bell. 30 billion shall live in the bright white light of truth. Let us rise and march forward with harmony of youth. As children of the heavenly power, we march against the foe. The command comes and the world bows to our true Father's own. Beaming light unto the nations, we carry high our dream. Let us win up for a Father, we youth of harmony. Beaming light unto the nations, we carry high our dreams. Let us win from the youth. So the next song we'll do is Song of Victory. Sing hosannas evermore, sing of glory evermore, for the Lord has come again. Sing hosannas evermore. Sing hosannas evermore, sing of glory evermore, for the Lord has come again. Sing hosannas evermore. Heaven dances at the sound, all his angels will around, all creation joining in, dances at the joyful sound. See the new Jerusalem coming down upon the earth, for the day is here at last, when the Lord is come at last. Brightly burns the final flame. Burns so brightly. Burns so brightly everywhere. Light of hope burns today. Light of hope burns today. Kindling every faithful heart. Every faithful heart. Land of Egypt. Land of Egypt. Land of hope. Waiting for the Lord's return. Soon the day will come at last, when the rose of Sharon bloom. March along, march along, have no fear, but march along, for you go to victory. Heaven's soldiers praise you, glorious Lord of all. To the Lord of truth and love, sing to him. Everybody sing Hosanna. Sing Hosanna evermore. Sing of glory evermore. For the Lord has come again. Sing Hosanna evermore. Beautiful. You may be seated. Thank you.
Okay, please join. Oh, there we go. Okay. Please join me in prayer. Our dear, most beloved Heavenly Parent, true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, and Jesus, God, we are so grateful and thankful for the opportunity of us gathering here today on November 7th of 2021 here on the Belvedere property. Heavenly Parent, we thank you. We thank you for the week that you've given us, for the plans that you have prepared for us in the future, God, and we are fully grateful for being able to be here on True Children's Day, on the day of celebration for the unity of the nation, heaven on earth, here, God, in this country where we're able to gracefully worship you, God, and gracefully practice what our true parents have taught us for all these years. And for that, God, we are grateful. We are grateful that we're able to pass on these traditions to our children and our children's children, God. And for that, we are eternally grateful, God. As we are here, we pray that you allow us to open up our hearts to receive the message from our pastor, Justin Okamoto, God. As we pray, God, we really pray for you to prepare him to give this message so that each one of us can really go back home and put it into practice in our daily lives, God. So for that, again, we thank you, and we want to offer all of this in all of our names, and in my name, Stephanie Diaz, part of the Blessed Angel family. Jew. So thank you, everyone, and let us now welcome up our pastor of the Belvedere Family Church, Pastor Justin Okamoto, to give us a sermon message for today.
Yeah. All right. I think we're okay.
So much power.
I wanted to put the computer down because you won't be able to see my face, so it's up there. All right. All right, so hello, brothers and sisters.
Hello.
It's really great to see you all here. And yeah, isn't it really beautiful to see so many young faces in the audience?
Yes.
Yeah. So as many of you know, we had a Sunday school workshop that led up into this Sunday service. So we've been going since about 9 o'clock in the morning. It's a pretty, yeah, it's a full day. But it's been a really wonderful day and really beautiful to see all of the children come together. And so I really felt that kind of what we're doing with this workshop also really kind of flows well into the message of today, which is creating a culture of heart. Recently, we also had a council retreat, and I had an opportunity to share about my vision for this community. So I wanted to also share that with all of you here. Are you curious what that is?
Yes.
All right. Well, it's a very simple statement, and I'm sure it's going to evolve over time. But the vision that I came up with is a growing community that embodies the culture of heart. So it's simple, but I think there's a lot there, and a lot that that we can dig into that. And the main point that I want to talk about today, though, is about this culture of heart. What does that mean to create a culture, to create a community that really embodies the culture of heart? So I think a lot of us know this idea of a culture of heart. Maybe we've heard it somewhere. Is there anybody that has never heard of this concept of a culture of heart? Okay. Yeah, a few of the kids in the back. Yeah, that's okay. But yeah, we know this concept. One place where we find it is in our family pledge, right? And specifically, it's in the family pledge number 7.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just read this. It says, our family, the owner of Chanilduk, pledges through living for the sake of others to perfect the world based on the culture of heart, which is rooted in the original lineage by centering on true love. So yeah, there's a lot there actually. It's interesting because this verse of the family pledge, it's one of the shorter verses of the family pledge. It actually used to be a little bit shorter because I learned that in 1999 they added that through living for the sake of others. So actually this was a very short verse in the pledge, but I think there's so much depth in just this short verse. And I want to go into that. What does that mean when we talk about a culture of heart? Because this family pledge, if you know our movement, it's a worldwide movement, right? We have communities all around the world, in Africa and Asia, in Europe, in Australia, every continent we have a community there. And whatever community you go to, whatever culture you go to, the culture of heart looks different depending on the culture of the community. So that could be very confusing, actually, especially when I was growing up. It was very confusing to me, especially when I went to a place like Cheonggyeon. Cheonggyeon is a place in Korea where people come from all around the world in our global movement to praise God and to receive revival. But one of the things you notice there is how different the cultures of our movement is, actually, depending on the country. So even to the point where something that we might consider the culture of heart a good thing in America, in another community, they might consider that wrong or bad. A simple example is in America, we have this culture of brothers and sisters, where it would be okay for me to go up to a sister and give her a hug, and be close in that way. But in my time in Japan, I learned very quickly that that's not that's not their way of doing the culture of heart. You're very much separated, and you're kind of asked to not have any physical contact with the opposite sex, of course, other than your spouse and your children. So to me, this was so actually very confusing and very kind of stressful even, because I'm trying to do something good, giving my love to a brother or a sister, but they're looking at it as if I'm doing something wrong or doing something bad, right? So it can be very confusing. And it was so confusing for me that I really wanted to dig deep into this concept of culture of heart. So much so that I went to actually study culture in college. So I have a degree in anthropology. So, do you know what that means? So it basically means that if it wasn't for this pastor job, I probably couldn't get a job anywhere else. It's a humanities, No, but anthropology, specifically the one that I studied, focused around culture, right? And understanding culture. So I really wanted to understand what is this culture part, and I did learn some very valuable things about culture. And I want to kind of break that down. The first point I want to talk about is the power of culture, how powerful culture is. Let me just see, how many of you have been to another country? Can I just get a show of hands? Okay, let's see, who's been to the most? Who's been to 2? Keep your hands up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh my God. All right, 20? Oh my God. 25, 30. Okay, I'm just gonna cut it there. You guys are amazing. Wow, we have some global citizens in the room. Amazing. So one thing that you'll notice when you go to another country is how quickly you will experience the culture of that country, right? So, we experience it so quickly that there's a phenomenon that most of us know called culture shock, right? You kind of go to a country and you're shocked. Oh my God, this is so different, right? I remember I had an experience when I was in Japan where I experienced this kind of culture shock. It was about 7:55 a.m. in the morning, and I went to a shopping mall. And, it was right when the stores were just opening. So I was the first one in the shopping mall. So I walk in, and I saw something so amazing that I've never seen in my life. All of the storekeepers were standing outside of the door, and as I walked into the shopping mall, they all bowed to me. And so I'm walking around, and there's people bowing to me. Like, oh my God, this is amazing! I feel like a king, But then, of course, I just start noticing, oh, they're bowing to everybody. What? Come on. But it was so amazing, this culture of respecting the customers, respecting people as they walk in. And that was something that just hit me, right? It's something I experienced right away. I was like, wow, this is new, this is different. So the thing about culture is it's not something that you have to study, right? You don't have to understand the culture or study the culture before you can experience it, right? Like I didn't have to read a book about Japan before experiencing Japan, right? And I didn't have to, for example, I didn't have to study the theology or the ideology of Japan to experience the culture of Japan, right? And that's really the power of culture. When we talk about a culture part, why it's so powerful is because somebody doesn't have to study the ideology or the theology of the people in that culture to experience it, right? It's like they just walk into the culture and then they get hit by it. They say, wow, this is different. This is not something I experience in my day-to-day life. And so that's really, if we could have that kind of culture, that's going to change everything, right? It's going to change the way that we talk about our movement, the way that we do witnessing, the way that we do service. Everything will change when we have that strong culture part. Another point of why culture is so powerful is because it has a very real influence on our daily life and our daily actions. Just an example here, the clothes that you're wearing today. You may think that you chose to wear those clothes, but even before you made a choice to wear those clothes, this culture made it normal to wear those clothes, right? So much of your decisions are based off of what this culture considers normal already. So our decisions are so much dictated by culture, and that can be a good thing, but that can also be a bad thing, right? One example in psychology, there's this psychological idea called the bystander effect. I don't know if you ever heard of this, But basically what it says is if somebody is in trouble and there's a group around that person, they're less likely to help that person. But if there's just one person and somebody who's in need, they're more likely to do something about it. And the reason for that is because when you're in a group and other people are there, you get a sense, well, nobody else is doing anything, why should I do something? And you can always give yourself that excuse that somebody else is not helping, so I don't have to help. Another example is like a toxic work environment. Right? I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but I once worked at a restaurant, and it was not this guy's restaurant, but I worked at a Japanese restaurant, and the manager of that restaurant was somebody who was a very, very angry person, and he would shout and he would yell at his employees, he would gossip about them, and you could see how that impacted everybody's energy and spirits, because everybody else was gossiping about each other and complaining about it and getting upset. And that's what a toxic work culture is it becomes very easy to complain, to gossip, to become upset because everybody's doing that, right? But on the other hand, if you have a culture where people are praising each other, are loving each other, when you see somebody who's doing something good, then you also give yourself permission to do something good as well. Say, well, this person's helping out, that person's helping out, I should probably do something too, right? One easy example that I like to think about, this is very real for us in when we come to service, is how we do praise and worship. Right, so we have an amazing praise and worship leader in Raul, right? He gets up here and he really sings his heart out and he puts out his energy, right? But a lot of times what we see is, the rest, the congregation, we're just kind of like standing and we're just kind of like singing along and, not really putting our whole spirit, our heart into it, right? But if you just see like one person in the audience and they start really get into it and they go, and then someone else sees that and you're like, actually I want to do that too. I'm going to do that too. Or somebody starts clapping, clap, 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 and they don't give up. And then eventually I was like, okay, I'm going to clap too. And then eventually you have the whole room clapping, right? And that's really the power of culture, how culture can really dictate our actions. So now I want to talk about, what is this culture of heart, right? So we talked about the power of culture, so let's talk about the culture part. And I want to read one more time from our two parents. It says, he's talking about the meaning of the family pledge. He says, our family pledges to perfect the world based on the culture of heart, which is rooted in the original lineage by centering on true love. This part of the pledge speaks about the world of heart, the world where true love has been manifested. So really a culture of heart, at the core of a culture of heart is a culture where love can be manifested, where the love that is inside of you can come out of you, right? Because the reality is, I believe human beings are filled with such incredible love inside. But the problem is we don't let it out, right? And part of the reason why we don't let it out is because we don't have a culture where it's normal to let it out, right? And one aspect of a culture of heart is freedom. You guys know this movie? So, yeah, who here likes some freedom? You like freedom? All right, let's try to do our best Braveheart freedom, okay? We're gonna do a 3, 2, 1, go. Freedom! All right, you guys, let's do better. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Freedom! How does that feel? Does that feel good to be free?
Yeah.
You gotta let yourself out, let it out, right? And kind of let your, what is inside and express that out, right? So, I believe that more than anything, this culture of heart is a culture where we have the freedom, but specifically it's the freedom to love, right? The freedom to love others. And if we look at ourselves, I think if we really take an honest look at ourselves, we'll be confronted with the fact that a lot of us are not free, to express our love, to give our love. And, I had an experience where I came face to face with this reality, this feeling of my inability to express love. And basically what happened was my oldest brother, some of you know him, Takashi, he recently found a kind of a cyst or a tumor in his chest. And when we found out about it, when my parents told all of the siblings, of course we were all really worried and scared, and we there wasn't any of us that didn't pray about it and didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I love my brother so much and I don't want anything bad to happen to him. But when it came time to tell that to my oldest brother, to tell him, I'm worried about you, I care about you, I love you, I felt such incredible difficulty actually to do that. And the reason for that is, it's not part of the culture of my family to say I love you, or to say I care about you, or say I'm worried about you. Of course, my parents, they said that to us as children, and we still can say I love you to our parents, but we never quite had a culture where I could say freely I love you to my sister or my brother. I'm not saying that that's anybody's fault, but that's just the reality of the culture of my family. And so I found it so difficult. It was so strange to me to say I love you to my brother, to say I'm worried, I'm crazy worried about you, I'm praying about you. And so actually, I didn't do anything for a little while. And then my mom, she really told each and every one of us, like, you have to say something to him. Because, he doesn't want, it's good that you're praying, but he needs to hear that you care about him. He needs to hear that you love him. And so, I was just, I knew that what she was saying was right. Of course, it still felt uncomfortable. But I said, I have to do this. This is right. So eventually, I did tell my brother, and I just sent him a message. I told him, I do love you. I love you. I care about you. We're praying for you. If you need anything, we're here for you. He said thank you, and I was really grateful that I had that opportunity to do that. But it's still really uncomfortable and really not easy for me because of the culture, right? And then if we took outside of the culture, depending on the culture that you're in, if I'm like at a workshop or I'm at youth ministry, it might be very easy to give somebody a hug or to say I love you because everybody does that, right? But that is the power of culture and having the freedom in a culture to express your love. And to me, that's the culture that I want to see in our community, is a culture where you have the freedom because everybody else is expressing their love. You give yourself permission to express your love. You see somebody else really caring about others. You see somebody else really reaching out to somebody else. You see, kids getting together and us supporting raising our children together, and that becomes normal. We say, well, everyone's doing it. It's a normal thing to do. Let's just do it like that. So, I want to just also bring up, what that means for God, right? For our heavenly parents, because if you know that experience of that difficulty of expressing your love, have you ever experienced that before? That kind of feeling like I should say something or I want to say something, but it's weird, it's strange, I don't know how to say it. Actually, that feeling of lack of freedom to express your love is the same feeling you can imagine that God feels, right? Actually, God doesn't have the freedom to express his love to his children in a physical way, right? God doesn't want to just feel that he loves his children, right? Just like it's not enough for us. It wasn't enough for me to just feel my love for my brother or to pray about my brother. I wanted to express it. And that's God. God wants to actually say to you, I love you. I'm here for you. I care about you. I'll do anything for you. And that's what a culture part becomes, is not just a culture where humanity can be free, but it's a culture where God can be free. And it's a culture where God's heart can be liberated because God can finally express the things that he wants to say to his children. So how many of you would like to live in a culture of heart? I'm going to show your hands. Would you like that? Yeah. So the question is, how do we go about creating this culture of heart? And my understanding is that it really starts with the individual, right? The culture that we can create a heavenly culture or a culture of hell just from one individual can make such a big difference. I remember another time I was in Korea, in Cheongpyeong, we were doing this workshop for young people. And one of the things I really love about Cheongpyeong is they have a culture, there's this culture of trust there. And basically what I mean by that is I could leave my laptop in the room and I could go to another building and I could come back like an hour later and I could trust that it would still be there, right? And that's not something that you could do, in like just, if I go to a Starbucks and then, I go to the grocery store and I come back, I would be like, oh my God, is my computer gonna be there? But that's the culture, this amazing trust that a lot of people experience in Cheongpyeong. There's no reason to lock your stuff away. You can just kind of leave it out. And that was the culture that we had. But then I remember in this workshop, there started to be these people saying that things were getting stolen. And when people started having their stuff go missing, the whole culture started to change. People started to become suspicious of one another. People started to wonder, who's doing that? And people started to hide their things, naturally, started to lock their things up. And eventually we did find the person who was stealing things. And I talked to that person. And I just wanted him to understand. I told him, I want you to understand, like, you're not a bad person, but what you're doing is it's creating a culture of distrust. And if you want to live in a culture where people trust each other, we cannot be doing these things like that. It destroys our culture. And so just by one person's action, a culture of trust, of love can be destroyed. So each person, their individual responsibility is so important. And the opposite of that is just one person's investment and devotion and love can create an incredible culture of heart. And that's really, what our true parents have done. I'm not going to say that our culture is perfect. I know that we have a long way to go. But there are so many things about our unification culture that I am so proud of. I'm so proud that I can travel the world and I'll always have a place to stay. I went to a wedding just this past January, and people asked me, where did you stay? And I said, I stayed with a member of my church. And they said, what church are you a part of? How do you just stay with someone from your church like that? But that's incredible, is that we have family all around the world, and we have people that will look at us as brothers and sisters. We also have a culture that is incredibly diverse, and you won't find another culture where people are literally signing up to marry someone from the opposite side of the earth, right? But that's such an incredible part of what our culture is this diversity, this inclusivity. And again, I'm not saying that it's perfect. We still have a long way to go to create that sense of freedom, right? To express our love, to really come to service and feel like I could give this brother or sister a hug. I can tell them how much I love them. I could tell them like I really, would just love to get to know you more. Have that kind of freedom in our expression. But another way that our true parents have started to initiate this culture of heart is through what we celebrate. That's a big part of culture, is what we celebrate. And we just celebrated, right, Children's Day. It's amazing to have a day just dedicated to celebrating the gift of children, right? What an amazing gift that God gave to humanity, gave to us as parents. And we get to celebrate that. And we get to celebrate Parents' Day. We get to celebrate these amazing holidays together. And we get to say, this is something precious. This is something worth coming together on. So, personally, I'm incredibly grateful for the foundation that our true parents have built in creating that culture of heart. And I think they've really done, everything that they could do, they've done. And it's really going to come down to us, right? And so, brothers and sisters, I really want to challenge us all, that have that mindset that every action that you do, everything that you do is creating a culture around you. When you give yourself permission to sing your heart out during praise and worship, when you give yourself permission to go up to someone that you don't know and say hello and greet them, you're creating a culture where that becomes the normal thing. And imagine if that was normal, if it was normal to love our brothers and sisters, who wouldn't want to be a part of that? So can we create that culture together, brothers and sisters?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do our best. Thank you so much. I love you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Pastor Justin. Let's give him another round of applause. And most importantly, it's really precious and valuable that we create that culture, not just for ourselves, not just for our peers, but really so that it's a culture that the future generations can grow up in, right? And I think that was really beautiful to see today, the product of hard work from our older brothers and sisters, our parents, our staff, our Pastor Justin, and also Pastor Mika from District 1 is here. So that's the beautiful effort that was put in today, and we were able to host over 50 kids, close to 50 children, I believe, and everyone was just having a really beautiful and amazing time. So I see that they're actually waiting to come inside to actually give you guys a very special treat, but first, I'm going to invite the older group to give us a little skit. Should we actually invite the younger group in? Maybe they can sit. Yeah. Athia, if you hear this, you may come in. But our older group here has been preparing something very special to share with you all today. So you guys can come up and we can prepare right here. Yeah. Yeah, they can come in and sit like in the middle. Yeah. So this awesome group will perform a nice little skit for you today. Pastor Justin was able to read us the story of the giving tree. So that's exactly what they'll act out, but let's give them a minute to set up a little. One second. As you can see, I was kind of in charge of helping with this, so my apologies. Okay, so this is our elder group. Let's give them a round of applause for putting in tremendous effort. This tree took a lot of love to make. So, family, this is the giving tree. Okay, guys, you may begin now.
Once there was a tree, and she loved a little boy. And every day the boy would come and he would gather her leaves and make them into crowns and place her before us. He would climb up her trunk and swing her from her branches, and when he was tired, he would sleep in her shade, and the boy loved this tree very much. And the tree was happy. But time went by, and the boy grew older, and the tree was often alone. Then one day the boy came to the tree and he said, "Come, boy, come and climb up my trunk and swing from my branches, and eat apples and play in my shade and be happy,"
I'm too big to climb and play.
said the boy.
I want to buy things and have fun. I want some money. Can you give me some money?
"I'm sorry," said the tree, "but I have no money. I have only leaves and apples. Take my apples, boy, and sell them in the city. Then you'll have money, and then you'll be happy." And so the boy climbed up the tree and gathered the apples and carried them away, and the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time, and the tree was sad. And then one day the boy came back, and the tree shook with joy, and she said, "Come, boy, come and climb up my trunk, and swing from my branches, and eat apples, and play in my shade, and be happy,"
I'm too busy to climb trees.
said the boy.
I want a house to keep me warm. I want a wife. I want children. And so I need a house. Can you give me a house?
"I have no house. The forest is my house," said the tree. "But you may cut off my branches and build a house. Then you'll be happy." And so the boy cut off her branches and carried them away to build a house. And the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time, and the tree was sad. And when he came back, the tree was so happy he could hardly speak. "Come, boy," he whispered. "Come and play."
I'm too old and sad to play. I want a boat that will take me far away from here. Can you give me a boat?
"Cut down my trunk and make a boat," said the tree. "Then you can sail away and be happy." And so the boy cut down her trunk and made a boat and sailed away, and the tree was happy. But not really. And after a long time, the boy came back again.
Mom,
"I'm sorry, boy, but I have nothing left to give you. The apples are gone.
My teeth are too weak for apples.
The branches are gone. You cannot swing on them.
I'm too old to swing on branches.
My trunk is gone. You cannot climb.
I'm too tired to climb.
I'm sorry. I wish that I could give you something. But I have nothing left. I'm just an old stump."
Now, just a quiet place to sit and rest. I'm very tired.
"Well," said the tree, straightening herself up as much as he could, "an old stump is good for sitting and resting. Boy, sit down and rest." And the tree was happy.
Thank you. Let's give another round of applause. Thank you, beautiful children of God. You guys can put the props over there. So the story of the giving tree is quite important, right? The tree just gives and gives and gives. And actually, at the end, it's really important for us to also realize how much we are given each and every day, right? Whoever the tree symbolizes in your life. So thank you guys again. And now for another special treat that's been in the works since the morning, we have a very special performance to you all by the younger kids, and they're going to give you guys a little dance. So whenever you guys are ready, you may come up.
And we're gonna be casing that. Okay, guys. One, two, three. And we're gonna sing.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Yeah, you ready for this? Keep playing song. 2003. Oh, shout out to the world. I'm coming through your soul. All along, you know we always here for you. Even though you thought it's okay, we gonna wait for you. Don't get started, don't act like you don't want it. Let's get together. Come on, everybody, let's go. I don't wanna go alone. Let's go. Some nights I don't wanna be alone. Let's go. But when I can hear your voice, I can wake up, I can start it. We gotta get together now. So get your hands together.
One more round of applause for our younger group. Awesome job, guys. Awesome job. Thank you. Awesome. Yes, they are very, very cute. It's just amazing, right? Just the science and creation of it all. We all used to be that size at one point in our lives. Wow. So now that being said, since the kids invested, the parents invested, our staff invested, we actually wanted to do a little graduation celebration to commemorate True Children's Day, to commemorate the efforts that the participants have made today. So if I can invite up Pastor Justin and also Messi, or yeah. Pastor Justin, Pastor Mika actually up as well. And the children kind of ran out. We need them for this.
Actually, we want to just take a picture with all the kids.
Yeah.
We can get the kids.
That means you guys two older group.
Yeah, if we can have all the kids can come up
All
to
the
the
kids,
front.
come up.
Did they do a great job, everybody?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's great.
Josh, go to the middle. Close. Big smile. Big smile. Oh, must. Just smile, guys.
Here,
No, no, come on. Madeline.
All right, why don't we sing like happy graduation to you or something like that? Okay, ready? See, Jack. Happy graduation to you. Happy graduation to you. Happy graduation, Sunday school kids. Happy graduation to you. One more time, ready? Happy graduation to you. Hey, happy graduation to you. Hey, happy graduation to the school kids. Happy graduation to you. All right. Yeah, so these kids did such a good job. Did you have fun today? Right, yeah. We had about 50 kids come to Belvedere today. I think it's been a while since we had so many kids, but it's really a beautiful experience. So yeah, why don't we just take one picture all together.
Okay.
Oh, look at cheese. You're cheating. A, B, C. Sit down, sit down.
It's okay.
Joshie. Joshie, stand next to Julia. Joshua, go next to Julia.
Okay, everyone look right here. Big smiles. Ready? Here we go. Ready? Oh.
Joshie,
Here we go.
A, B,
Oh, you
C.
gonna get it? Here we go. We gotta take it. Ready? 3, 2, 1, cheese.
Julia.
One more. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1, cheese. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect.
Sunday school kids. You guys are awesome. We love you. All right, so to close out our service, let's invite the song team up and we'll do one final song.
That was so beautiful. I feel young again. So we'll close with the song Changil. Everyone stand, please. 우리에서 오는 덕이 눈에서 오는 덕. Everybody sing. 이 목숨 바쳐서 덕. Sing like you are the Met. 성일이로라. Or Radio City. 이 교회 썰리는 덕일 이 나라 사는 내 덕일 덕일이어서 덕일이어라. Our church hopes are for unity. Our cherished hopes are for unity. Even our dreams are for unity. We'll give our lives for unity. Come on, unity. Unity saving the people. Unity saving all nations. Come here quickly, unity. Come on, unity. Thank you all for coming. God bless you all and have a wonderful week.